One evening, after a long and exhausting day, a truck driver was heading home. About 30 minutes from his destination, he suddenly spotted a woman lying helplessly in the snow. Without hesitation, he jumped out of the truck and rushed toward her. As he was about to lift her, his eyes fell on her ID. What he saw made him tremble. Fathers will do anything to bring happiness and comfort to their children, but for one dad, Tyler, it was easier said than done. He worked hard to provide for his wife and their beautiful daughter, Kelly. However, most of his earnings were quickly consumed by bills, rent, electricity, groceries, and other expenses. Then, things took a turn for the worse. His daughter fell ill and was diagnosed with a cyst. The doctor informed him that without surgery, she had only about 3 years to live. The operation was extremely expensive, and even if Tyler drained all his savings, it still wouldn't cover the cost. Yet, despite the overwhelming odds, Tyler refused to lose hope. He took on more jobs, worked extra shifts, and would often return home late. It was on one of these evenings, on his way home, that he came across an unusual encounter. That evening, it had snowed a little, so visibility was almost zero. Tyler's headlights were the only source of light on that lonely road. As Tyler drove, he thought about his daughter, who was getting sicker with each passing day. "Daddy is going to do anything for you. I just need you to hold on, my girl," Tyler muttered. He was almost on the verge of tears, but at that instant, his eyes caught a silhouette in the snow, and he hit the brakes sharply. "What on earth is that?" Tyler gasped. Then he stared harder and immediately realized it was a woman lying unconscious on the ground. His eyes popped open as he quickly jumped down from the truck. He looked around, but there was not a single soul there. Tyler was now very scared. What if this was some foul play? What if someone was trying to set him up for a crime he knew nothing about? "Hello, are you okay?" Tyler screamed from afar, but there was no response. That was when his impulse set in. He threw caution away and ran towards the unconscious lady. "Hey, ma'am, can you hear me?" Tyler tapped her, but she remained still. Then he lifted her head, and he saw something that made him flinch. It was the woman's ID. The name on the ID looked very familiar, and so did her photo. It was as if he'd seen her somewhere. Was this some sort of déjà vu? The confused man panicked. Suddenly, the woman, who was slowly regaining consciousness, grabbed his shirt. "Good gracious, you are alive." Tyler screamed, "You need to get to the hospital right away." Just then, he noticed some bruises on her face, and he became even more frightened. Regardless of all this, he knew the woman needed help, so he brushed off all his negative thoughts, carried the woman in his arms, and ran back to the truck. Then he turned on the heater and covered her with his jacket. After a 10-minute drive, the woman opened her eyes and mumbled something Tyler didn't even hear. "Hey, can you hear me? How do you feel? What's your name?" Tyler asked. "It's Julie," the woman said weakly. Immediately after she said this, goosebumps sprang all over Tyler's arm. He was so sure he had heard the name somewhere, but he didn't say anything about it. Besides, there were more urgent questions that needed answers. "What happened to you? How did you end up in the middle of the road?" Tyler asked. "It's a sad story. It's best if I don't tell you about it," the woman said. But the response only made Tyler's suspicion grow. "I'm so sorry, ma'am, but you need to open up so I can help you. I have to tell the doctors everything, and who knows, they may involve the police. Please trust me. What's your story?" Tyler said gently. The woman then heaved and told Tyler she was in an abusive marriage but decided to call it quits. She was secretly planning her divorce when her husband heard her talking to her sister on the phone about it. He then locked her indoors and subjected her to all kinds of unthinkable treatments. Luckily for her, he had left the spare key on the table when he went out, and that was how she escaped. She also said she had been without food for days and eventually collapsed in the middle of the road. Tyler was so touched by her story, and he believed she was telling the truth. He was so glad he was there just when she needed him. When they got to the hospital, Tyler told the doctors everything, and they also did the right thing by informing the police. When the detectives arrived, Tyler gave a statement and they let him go. Unfortunately, when Tyler got home, he met his wife in a very sad state. She told him Kelly's condition was getting worse. "Don't worry, I'm going to ask for more extra hours. I will do everything I can," he assured her. That night, this loving father couldn't sleep. He kept tossing and turning all night. The next day, Tyler received a call from the hospital. They told him Julie wanted to see him. Once he got to the hospital, the woman told him she just wanted to thank him for saving her life. Tyler then told her he did what anyone with a good heart could have done. Afterward, he gave her the fruits he got for her, then they spoke briefly about her health, and Tyler left. But he forgot something, and it was this item that took the story in a very teary but beautiful direction. This item was Tyler's bag. It was only about 50 minutes after Tyler left that Julie finally noticed it. She then picked it up, and a letter fell out of it. Julie picked up the piece of paper, and she began to read. Each sentence broke her heart, and tears flowed out of her eyes. "Dear Dad, I am so sorry that I fell sick, and you have to go through all this. It breaks my heart each time you return home tired, all because you have to go look for money. Every time you leave, Mom and I always pray for you. I pray God gives you money. After my surgery, I promise to change you and Mom's life. I'll make a lot of money, and you won't have to work again. Lots of love, Kelly." By the time Julie was done reading, she was crying like a toddler. She then returned the letter to the bag. More days passed by, and Tyler continued doing everything he could to raise the money. He was now very close to having a breakdown, but that was when the hospital called him. He thought they had reached out to give some news about his daughter's latest checkup. "I am doing everything I can to raise the money. It's just been hard," Tyler, who was now very close to tears, said. But the doctor's response sent shocks all over his body. "Someone pay for your daughter's surgery. Please come to the hospital so we can schedule a date for the operation." Tyler almost passed out from shock and excitement. Who could have paid such a huge amount of money? The family was very surprised yet grateful to their unknown angel. A few days later, Kelly went in for her surgery, and it was successful. Her parents were so happy that their girl was finally free from her illness. Kelly was over the moon as well, and for once, Tyler took some days off work to rest. He spent more time with his daughter in the hospital as she recovered from surgery. Now that he no longer had to worry about his daughter, he channeled his energy into looking for the stranger who saved his family. He and his wife reached out to all their friends and family, but no one claimed to know anything about it. Little did they know, the person responsible was about to pay them a visit. As Kelly and her family were preparing to leave the hospital, there was a knock at the door. It took Tyler a moment to recognize who it was. The person standing before them exuded luxury and had the appearance of a wealthy CEO. It was Julie, and Tyler recognized her only by the ID she was wearing. In that moment, he realized Julie was the guardian angel he and his family had been searching for. Yet, with a mix of hope and disbelief, he asked, "Are you the one who helped us?" "Yes." "Thank you for saving my life," Julie said. She then explained she had found Kelly's letter in his bag and knew she had to help. It turned out that Kelly was a wealthy CEO of a well-known company. At last, Tyler realized why she looked so familiar. He must have seen her in the news or papers. The family was beyond grateful to Julie, all because Tyler had taken a leap of faith. Sometimes when we help others without expecting anything in return, life has a way of rewarding us in unexpected ways. I'm really keen to know your thoughts on this story, so please don't hesitate to share your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Feel free to share this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I'm excited to connect with you in our future videos.